Time now for our rants and raves, starting with Dan Kennedy.
I'm going to get into the Christmas season, to Christmas spirit with a rant. My rant is for the Knoxville News Sentinel of Tennessee, which ran a column last week, by their columnist Sam Venable on this tearjerker of a story. I mean, it was heartrending about a 5-year-old boy who was sick, dying in the arms of this guy who was playing Santa Claus. And it went national. It was on the Washington Post, CNN, it was in the Globe. And when I read it at the time, I said, oh my God, this is like one of the most moving stories I've read in a long time. But I'm not seeing the proof here. Well, sure enough, Snopes got onto it. And it hasn't been disproven, but there are no facts to verify that it ever happened, and it doesn't seem that it did.
All right, Callie, what do you got?
We talked briefly at the time of the Oakland fire that there was a victim. One of the victims was the KQED producer. And I just wanted to give a rave for him because it turns out he was a producer, sure enough, but he was some kind of fabulous person and producer. His name is Alex Gasson. He was freelance, and they said they would have loved to have him full-time, but he was doing all these other fascinating things, including movies and going around the world doing other projects. But they just here it is. It said, beneath the wicked wit and sly grin, Alex was whip smart with an insatiable appetite for the next amazing opportunity, most of which he imagined through the lens of a camera. I just, you know,
all those young people.
Yeah,
so
it's really sad. And by the way, his fiance also died in the fire.
Oh my God.
So it's just double tragedy.
It was awful. All right, Jennifer.
Well, my rant today is for Facebook, who this week announced that they were going to be trying to limit so-called fake news on the site, that they're going to be fact-checking things that seem suspicious. And I have a problem with that because I think that sometimes fake is in the eye of the beholder, right? There are a lot of things on Facebook that are satire. The Onion, for example, is hilarious and would obviously get caught in any algorithm that Facebook produced.
They say it's not an algorithm.
They've talked about different ways of doing it. And I think I was actually one of the few conservatives who went out to Facebook in, I guess, March, after they had the blow-up about bias against conservative media. And I met with Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg. And I really believe that they are well-intentioned and that they want to get this right. But this is wrong. They're not getting this right. And I think that they will be sorry.
It's not doable. I mean, because as I was saying today on the radio, a lot of stuff on Facebook is fake, including all those quizzes, all those, you know, touch here and amen. You got to get rid of all of that then. It's all fake.
I wrote about this for WGBH, and they could go after certain identifiable clickbait farms and just shut
them down.
But trying to do this story by story is not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Right. No, it's not going to work.
Dan Lothian.
Well, mine sort of ties into this a little bit. A rave for the founder of Craigslist, of course, who brought us this wonderful way to sell all of our junk, but now he has donated $1 million to the Poynter Institute, and this will go towards helping programs that will, or building programs that will create some kind of guidelines for journalists to determine and to weed out and fact-check fake news. Here's a quote from what he said. I want to stand up for trustworthy journalism, and I want to stand against deceptive and fake news, and I want to help news organizations stand and work together to protect themselves and the public against deception by the fake media. And so $1 million to do that. And
putting his money where his mouth is.
Exactly. And for that, he gets my rate.
It, right?
I've actually never seen the face behind Craigslist.
I know. Now you do. There you go. Every time you sell a used bike or something, you'll know where it came from. He's the one who did it.
All right. Well, finally, I have a rave. We need to have something in the Christmas spirit here today for Wally Brine of the Lauren and Wally Show on WROR. 35 years doing that morning show, and he signed off today for the last time. You know, I was addicted to this show back in the early 90s, I think. And you know how you sort of drift from radio station to radio station? Of course, now I'm only listening to 89.7, but
of course.
But I used to love listening to them, and I was actually kind of wistful and a little bit sad about this because it's one of those staples. It's like Maddie in the Morning. I mean, it's like can't imagine not having him there. So
he's an institution.
Yeah.
Every time somebody like this moves on, you always think about the future because people won't stick around on the job. We all move every couple of years, and this notion of being someplace for 20 years, 30 years on
So
the air.
quaint.
It is, yeah. And so it seems at some point, 5 years, well, let's say goodbye to someone who's been here for 5 years. So it's sad. I think this is something we won't see
And
that
it's
much.
literally the end of an era because the radio business has changed so much. They're not going to put together shows like that anymore.
It'll be podcasts.
But I mean, Lauren is still going to be there, so I
Yeah.
don't know. They're going to do something.
Well, it's local, and that still works. I don't
you're
care what
right.
people say.
It's all local.
Yeah.